We are live.
Okay, so welcome to Creativity Café, the space where we explore how stories really work and why they matter so deeply in our lives. My name is Callum Morrison. I was a management consultant who was particularly interested in leadership and have decided to pursue that through academia. And today I'm joined by Dr. S.M.A. Moin, author of Storytelling in Marketing and Brand Communications. This is the fifth episode of a series of interviews that I've conducted with Dr. Moin. And today we're diving into the topic that sits at the heart of storytelling, culture, and even how we understand ourselves. And that is genre. So genre is often treated as a simple classification: horror, romance, thriller, fantasy. But what if genre is in itself something a bit more? Something a bit more in as much as it's a system. There is a system for each genre. And that system taps into the emotions of people, to their philosophies, to their lives. So today, with Dr. Moin, we're going to explore this area of genre. Moin argues in his book, Storytelling in Marketing and Brand Communications. I've got his book here.
Yeah, thank you, Callum.
The genres are not just narrative categories, not just types, but strategic blueprints. They're frameworks that shape the meaning, influence the emotion, and guide human behaviors. In today's conversation, we'll unpack what genre really is, why it matters, how it connects to life itself, and how understanding genres can transform storytelling. Whether you're a writer, a screenwriter, a storyteller, a marketer, or a leader, or simply somebody curious about how stories shape the way we live our lives. Maybe parents thinking of their children. So just to recap before we start. So what's a story? A story is a reflection of life, a shadow of life. It has characters. It has missions. It has values, obstacles. It has survival in it. It has achievements. It has a chronology. And it comprises values. And those values are developed and experienced and expressed through the story, through life. And life, of course, is supported by goods and services. And goods and services have brands. And brands are supported by values. So there's our overlap between stories and values and marketing. Thus, great brands capture the lives of groups of people. So today we're going to talk about story and brands and their intersection. We're going to pick on a couple of academics, McKee and Truby. We're going to make a business case, really, for storytelling. And we're even going to dip into why maybe there's the speculation in the book by Dr. Moin as to P&G or such large companies who have large advertising budgets. Those companies investing their budgets in writing, acting, and the directing of films in different genres. So after such an introduction, I'm pleased to pass over to Dr. Moin. Moin, perhaps you can just briefly introduce yourself and then we'll go into some questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Callum. I'm an academic. I'm a reader in storytelling and brand communication at Queen Mary University of London. I'm very passionate about storytelling and brand communications, but also purpose-driven leadership and creativity, particularly creativity in the imagination age, because I believe that we are living in the best possible time in the history of the world, and where you can achieve anything that you can imagine. That's what we call from Richard Branson when he was in the space, and he told that when he was a child, he used to look up to the sky, the beautiful moon. But now, when he was 71-year-old adult in the space, he was looking down to the earth, and he said that if he can achieve this thing, then think about what the next generation of leaders can achieve. So yeah, with that, that's a little bit of introduction about me. You can go into the questions, Kalam, and it's a pleasure actually to be with you today.
Okay, me too. So, Dr. Moin, let's start with the basics. Today, we're going to be talking about genres
Yeah,
and why they're so important to storytelling. So
yeah.
the question is obvious. What is a genre and why is it so important to storytelling?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question actually, although fundamental, but very good question to start with. So, if you see a story as the reflection of life, as you have already told, and we do understand a story through life, because life is explained artistically in the story. And so, if we see life as a story form, then genres are the portals, or the windows through which you can see life in different way. So, if you have a window on the east side of your room, and what you can see, you cannot see the west side of the room. So if you have another window on the west side, and then you can see what is in the west side. So likewise, uh, life cannot be explained with one genre, because life is complex. It has a lot of shades, it has a lot of colors, and different genre bring life into different shades and colors. So how I will define genre is, it is not just a label, it's a story system, and it is a structure combination of character, plot patterns, settings, emotional beats, moral logic. Because you see that different genre, they have got different emotional beats and different moral logic. Genre acts as a DNA of a storytelling. It guides the audience expectation and emotional response. Without genre, stories feel confusing or incomplete, because genre is kind of a life philosophy, and it's kind of an unwritten contract between the audience and the author, that what they can expect. So when somebody buying a romance genre, they expect certain thing, but somebody else who is liking the action and they buy action, their expectation is different. So that's a bit of a short answer to genre.
I think we need to unpack it though, because
Yeah, yeah,
so we're using a word that people will be familiar with, but we're also using it in the context of a particular subject,
yeah,
storytelling from the point of view of brand communications, and therefore we need to define it in terms of this discussion and in terms of brand communications and also in terms of your book. So in terms of your book and in your opinion, what are the most commonly used genres, commonly used by writers and by storytellers?
I mean, most common genres are sort of myth, where you see a journey actually. Then you can see action genre or adventure, love, romance for brand storytelling or brand communication. You can see that many brands, they use love genre when they develop technical stories, because love is an inseparable part of our life, and all of us want to be loved, and we want to love others as well. Then there is also fantasy genre. A lot of you can see the lot of luxury brand, they use fantasy genre because they take us into the imaginary world. They not only, it's like they create fictional reality, and the customers of luxury brand, they love to be in the in the uh, fictional reality. Then there is also horror. Some luxury brands sometimes they use horror genre very artistically, detective, a thriller, science fiction, memoir, then or personal narrative. But you can also see that nowadays, what is very important or very kind of artistic is that blend of two, three genres. Because sometimes, if you think about movie or say, or writing a novel, where number of plots makes a big difference, and if you choose different genre and artistically make the blend, then you find the plot those are very rich because different genre introduces plot differently. But yeah, in the context of the brand communication, so every brand, they have some value system, they have purpose, they stand for something, they have the life, that value system has to align with the life philosophy of the target customer, and genre suggests that what should be the life philosophy. So, for example, if you talk about, say, action is not about being, action is about being successful, but not necessarily morally right. Myth represent a journey to understand oneself and gain immorality. So, memory is not about the past, it's about creating your future, but you take lesson from the past. So, this is why genre also advise brand communication that can go deep and connect with the audience in an emotional level.
Mhm. I think many of us, you introduced the word action there, and many people will have seen on a T-shirt or somewhere the famous quote that everything I know about morality and uh, and the obligations of men I owe to football, which is a quotation by Camus.
Okay.
Um, so, sort of, I introduced that because you mentioned action. You also introduced values and so on and so forth into the conversation there. Okay, so how does genre connect to real life? I've used the word football there. For
Oh,
many
okay.
people, that's real life. How do you see it? And what's the link between genre and how we live?
So yeah, that's another very good question actually. First of all, I mean, human life itself follows a story pattern. So genre reflect how people understand reality, because life comes from reality. But genre also help us understand how we face conflict and define success and failure. So, for example, if you are thinking about, say, love genre, so here success might be that how two-person, the smallest team in the world, they know the art of negotiation and they create happiness. So that's the success here. But if you think about, say, action genre, here success might be viewed in a completely different way. In a crime or in a detective, the philosophy and success will be a little different. So people are drawn to genre that mirror their inner struggle and aspirations, and that's why genre is connected with the real life. So because when it reflects what is their inner struggle and the aspirations, they do fall in love with this kind of genre. And understanding genre also helps us understand human behavior, identity, meaning making, and fulfillment. And their brands can actually capture the deep aspirations of people, and they can develop a story that is artistic, but that is also emotional and connecting at a deeper level with the audience. But there is another important aspect is that major genre, especially, they not only answer life's big questions, something like I mentioned previously, that's success and failure, but they also helps us understand life's philosophy, and they also helps us experience life. And if you understand genre very, very well, you are not only mastering the art of writing great stories, but also you will learn how to live a great life that transcends the ordinary. Because you will bring principles and you will live those principles, value driven principles in your life. So you master the art of living as well. And that's why genre is very, very important and connected with the life.
So that implies that from different genres you get different. You don't only just have different structures, but you have different lessons
Yeah, of course.
and different learnings. So, arguably, to enjoy a full life, you must have a full genre,
Yeah, different
a
genre.
combination of genres.
Yeah, that's why, like
And be-
in a room, you need more windows. So yeah, of course.
and only through seeing lots and lots of different genres can you understand life, because each of them brings different things. Um, okay, so I think we've talked about some genres, and you talked about love. Do you want to talk about the inverse of? It's not an inverse of love, but it's something that is certainly contrasting.
Horror kind of thing.
Horror.
Oh, okay, horror. Okay, that's very interesting. Actually, horror is a very, very fundamental genre, and it actually came even before love. And I think because when human being came into this world, and initially it was very difficult for them to survive because now we are developed, we have a lot of things, we have got houses, we have got heating system, and we have got means of communication, and we have created society. It's a lot easier for us to survive while fighting against the adversities of life. But initially, human being, they were struggling, and you see that that's the time came people tell stories around fire and mostly share their experience of how they survived. So when people are dying, then they ask the question that what is the meaning of life, or how you can attach meaning to this life. Then the horror genre comes. So in horror genre, what we see life is an ongoing struggle to defeat death, and it is a fight all of us are destined to lose. So we are not going to win this fight. We will die while fighting with the monster. But again, the question is, then what is the meaning of life? So the life philosophy for the horror genre is that confront death and face your ghost from the past. We have to confront death. Even we know that, okay, sometimes we cannot defeat death. But yeah, we can defeat death in a different way that I'm coming. So that's the metaphor is religion that talks about life after death and expand the life and take us to the either hell or the promised land, the heaven.
Mm.
So desire is to defeat the monster. How you can defeat the monster? You can defeat the monster by being human. So the key question is who is human and who is inhuman? And it is the fight between human and inhuman. So in this society, we need to understand that who are human and who are inhuman. So the monster, you will not always see the monster looks like a monster. The monster can be wearing the same kind of cloth but doing evil things, and we do not understand.
Mhm.
So it is very important to understand who is human and who is inhuman. So you fight the monster, inhuman, in the society. That means you are standing for a purpose. And then if you die in this fight, doesn't matter. You try to be human and you will get the promised land. That's kind of the promise of the horror genre. But then most of the time, what we see that it is very easy to fight with the external monster, that the monster in the society. But the moment we fight, we win, and say you are in the sitting in the chair of power, and fighting the monster inside is very difficult, because we need to learn how we don't turn as a monster. That's why who is human and who is inhuman. Sometimes human becomes inhuman. And so you can see that sometimes that the all the trees, all the animals, they are not doing anything to us, but we are cutting the trees. We are creating life difficult for the animals. Now you question that, are we human or we are inhuman? So this is a call that we need to live the values of human. We really and we don't turn ourselves into inhuman. That's very, very important, so that we can get to the promised land. But another interesting thing here is that I will quickly finish is that all this philosophy that also helps or advise the practice. What is the practice? That how you write a nice genre, or how you develop the plot, or the plot builds. So it is the structural flip. So better horror story has a structural flip between human and inhuman. So you can see that a man, human, he's fighting this monster in the society, but then he become inhuman.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's not showing the humanity. So there is a flip. Or maybe you can see the villain is becoming better. So the at some point the monster become the hero. So that might happen. That okay, you were thinking that this is inhuman, but he is the hero. So these things happen in the society. And he is human, and people are monster trying to destroy that does not look like them. So you see that people, we are trying to destroy, or we are trying to kill somebody, those who are not like us. That if you can see that there are many jungles, and people go there and they hunt the animals for their purpose, they cut tree. Then also make the monster intelligent as possible. So if you make the monster as intelligent as possible, you will see the fight will be difficult. It's
Mhm.
not easily you can win. So in a story, you need to keep the audience in suspense. Wow, what happened? What is next? Can my hero win? So when you make the monster as intelligent as possible, that time the fight becomes really, really interesting. So, and also you show that what are the various unique ways the monster attacks, and what are the unique ways the human defend those attacks. Because then you cannot, like say, then you will create the uncertainty. So the plots, the attacks that is coming again and again in different plots, it will not be same. And when these are not same, you will not be able to predict what is going to happen. And that will keep you in the story world, because you will think, okay, what's next? You cannot predict. So this is what is horror genre in a nutshell.
Mhm. Okay. So, just to put this in context, then, one in your book, you actually cite a film where a a large corporation, a corporation that specializes in the delivery of goods,
Yeah,
is cited in a film, and that film which starred Tom Hanks,
yeah,
cost 90 million to make,
Yeah.
and grossed $430 million US.
Yeah.
That film was called Castaway,
Castaway.
year
Yeah.
2000,
Yeah. It's
and it did
FedEx.
enormous things for a brand. It did enormous things for a brand that we could spend some time on this, but it's probably enough just to say that because the main character was a troubleshooter for FedEx, solving problems, who had to leave the love of his life on Christmas Day to go and solve a problem, and in the process he got marooned on an island and returned some years later to find that, of course, life had moved on. But in the process, he had to face himself, life, struggle, monsters in his life, and he managed to come through and demonstrate a number of strong qualities which were representative of FedEx.
Yeah.
And FedEx, I think in your book you say that the chief marketing officer of FedEx
Yeah.
confirmed that it was a great example of how we could partner with Hollywood, and we can present our brand in a unique and compelling way, and that's all through storytelling. It's where Madison Avenue of advertising meets Hollywood. It's all using storytelling as a means
Yeah.
of representing a brand, and
Yeah.
that brand then um, partnering with a storytelling company. And what's the storytelling company of the world? That's obviously Hollywood. So that particular story wasn't horror, but there were monsters to face.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
But that's
another,
kind of a life. It's like a sort of yeah. It's a mixed genre. To be honest with you, you are right. So there is an element of horror because he was facing the horror, like from the natural calamities, living there alone and still having hopes. But there is also fantasy because he was discovering himself. But I mean, it's also a social challenge. So yeah, it's a very kind of artistic genre. It's very difficult to explain this particular story with a single genre, but yeah, that is where the good writers comes in.
well, that sort of bears out the point, doesn't it? That you can't just have one genre to understand life.
Yeah,
I mean, what we're saying
yeah,
is that genres reflect life, but one genre in itself does not reflect life. That you have to have a number of genres through which each presenting a slightly different lens through which you can see life and therefore understand life for what it is. So I suppose that leads us into saying, well, okay, if that's horror, what about a different genre? Can we sort of change tack then? What about the genre of detective? How is that one?
okay, okay, detective, yeah, that's another interesting genre. So you see, in detective, what happens, so somebody has done something wrong and you want to find it out. That is, who has done this thing. So we do not know actually the error or the crime done by whom. So we need to detect that person. So it's little different from crime. In crime, we are going to get hold of the criminal. But in detective, we do not know actually who is the criminal. So a detective story is about detective solving a mystery or a crime. It often has clues and surprise. Its example is the Sherlock Holmes. So most of the time, the Lieutenant Columbo, that most of the that's kind of he's one of the best detective hero. And so life philosophy is look for the truth. So unveiling the truth is the life philosophy because we want to know here. So knowing is actually being kind of thing. And the metaphor is the mind and the truth. That means how our mind put different puzzles together and then solve the puzzle, or different pieces together and solve the puzzle, and how mind think logically, not driven by emotion, logically, to solve the problem, to reveal the truth. So you see, it's very kind of very deep. And then desire is that finding the truth. And the key question is, who is bad character and who is good character? Like in horror, we say that who is human and who is inhuman. But here, because you will see in detective, the criminal will be surrounded by people and you will not be able to understand who is the criminal. Because if you do understand, it's not a detective. It's not a detective. Then it's another thing. So understanding good character and bad character is very difficult here. There is a dilemma here. Who is guilty and who is innocent? Because you will always want that innocent is not punished, innocent is not blamed. So this is a big job. And the theme is that being is questioning and discovering the guilt. So your being, that means when you are seeing that you are successful, or you are making a difference as a human being, or you are doing your job, it is questioning and discovering. That is how you are questioning. So when you want to unveil the truth, sometime your ability to question, when you see things and question things, is very, very important. So you see, when you are developing a detective, the story, how much you need to put in designing the character. So you need to think that your main character, the hero, has to be very, very intelligent. All these things that I told, hero needs to solve all those things.
Yeah.
Then the thematic recipe is the way of the truth. Now let's come to the sort of how these philosophies and how these themes that helps us design the plots, or how we can write a good detective. So normally what you do, you think of the big reveal that you will reveal at last. But you don't start with the big reveal. You start with a small things, and a small clue leads to another thing, again that another thing. And sometime you will bring the hero in a moment that hero can take two paths, and one path might take completely wrong direction, and the criminal might be saved. But now, how he is using the question and using his judgment, that he can get into the right path. And even if he goes to the wrong path, how quickly he can come back. So one of the example is the Chinatown. So it does not start with a with a murder investigation, because murder is sort of a big kind of crime, but it starts with an adultery case. And then while they were finding this problem,
So
or
hold on. So
investigating this
Chinatown film.
Chinatown is the film. Sorry, Chinatown.
Okay.
Chinatown. So Chinatown film. So it starts with a investigation of adultery case, but that leads to a murder. Because when they are investigating that, they find that there was a murder actually as well. But finally, they found that Los Angeles was built on a corrupt land deal. That's a very big reveal. So you start with a small reveal, and slowly, you discover the big reveal. And you keep your audience surprised. Surprised about two things: that, whoa, the thing here we were thinking is small, it's not a small thing, it's a very big thing. But you also surprise your audience with the intelligence of your hero. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's detective. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So how is that different then from a crime
Okay,
theme? I
brilliant.
mean,
That's
we're picking on for the benefit of 14 themes, 14 themes that were
no. Yeah. You are
highlighted
that's the right question actually. That should be the question right after.
by
Uh,
Trueborough.
yeah. Okay. So thank you, Callum. So that should be the question right after detective, because how it is different from crime. So as you see that in detective, we were chasing a truth. We are not bringing the guilty to justice. We want to know who is guilty. But in crime, we know that who is guilty. So crime is a story about a criminal activities like theft, murder, or fraud, and it can be from a point of view of the criminal, the police, or a victim. It's a broad category of stories where less emphasis on detecting the criminal and more on the battle between criminal and the lawman. So getting the criminal and bring him to justice is the crime, not just identifying who is guilty. We know they are here. What is that? Okay, so here is basically life philosophy is the protect the weak and bring guilty to justice. But in detective, we say that find the truth, that who is, the guilty. But here, protect the weak and bring justice. Because if we don't bring, the criminal to justice, then the criminal can actually do another crime. And we are not safe. So we want to bring the criminal to custody. So protect the weak and bring the guilty to justice. And metaphor is the morality and justice. Morality and justice. Because if your society has morality, this society will seek justice. They will give protection to the weak. And the key question is the who is allowed to live above law. And the key lesson, crime does not pay. So nobody is allowed to live above law. Crime doesn't pay. That is kind of the thing. And being is living by law and fighting for justice. That's kind of the theme. That being means living by law and fighting for justice. And the thematic recipe is the way of creating justice and transcending society's rule. So that how you manifest or bring justice to the society. So you can see that if you even talk about any city, and you can see the crime rate of that city, and that denotes one thing, that how justice is prevailed within that city, how you are protecting your weak people. So this is kind of the number of examples where are there, like the unusual suspects, then Lupin. It's a series, French series, and you can see there are a lot of other things. Sometimes the detective and sort of crime also mixed very often together to make it is a bit more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we just bring this back into the focus of the underlying theme of your book, which is storytelling and brand communications. Are we saying that, for example, just picking on, say, detective?
No, I mean,
given what the theme of detective means, is
no,
that
here
the thing that could attract a particular company whose product, you know, Moin, if I had a product and I wanted to work with Hollywood to develop some brand communication, and I saw that instead of spending my money on advertising, that I decided to spend it to invest it in writing, in direction, in production of films and TV. Is it the theme within the genre that attracts me to sponsor that particular genre? So would I,
Yeah,
if I am, say, something that works on the basis of truth, my data is always true, my data is always right, then that would be the type of thing that I would, and that's the underlying theme of the metaphor of a detective. Then I would be attracted to sponsoring detective movies, for example.
I mean, that you can do, but normally, I mean, nowadays, what you can do, you can even, many companies, they make a small short film as well, or maybe it's short promotional video that looks like a short story, especially the, the luxury brand, they do because they have got money. But what it is, it's not sometimes connected with the product, it connected with the company's philosophy, that what they stands for. So if the company wants to stand for the justice in the society, that means they can take the, the theme from crime, that bring criminal to justice. And when there is something like, that when there was a Black Lives Matter, so you can see that there are some brands, they protested,
Hmm.
and they, like, say Nike, and they say that, okay, Black Life Matters. So, well, if the Black Life Matters, what happened there? So somebody was killed by the police, and he was saying that, "Yeah, I can't breathe, leave me." And then he was killed, but he was an innocent person. And then many brands, they joined this campaign, especially Nike did a lot of advertisement actually. So you can make your communication, or you can support a cause in the society. So it doesn't have to be a promotional video sometime. You can show that you support a cause, and you live the philosophy, life philosophy, that is actually shown by that genre. So genre is like, even if you see genre, genre is not separated from life. So our life has got values. Genre just show that values through a story, through a philosophy. And then when real thing happens in the society, and you can show your position there. You can show your position. For example, if you look at, say, Dove. So Dove, in their communication, what they do, they bring all kind of character, black, white,
Yeah.
Asian, then somebody a bit obese, somebody a bit, the thin. So because they say that beauty, everybody is beautiful. It's not limited to size, shape, and color. So that is also a life philosophy. It's a life philosophy, something like, says, living some values. So their stories are also, may not be detective or something like that, but it is portraying sort of understanding that it is living some values. But if something happen in the society and then they need to take a position, they can at that time take the positions. Yeah. I'm not hearing you, Kalam. I think, Kalam, I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. I think, uh, do I
So they can
finish?
take it, strategic opportunity presents itself and they want to show.
Okay, I was not hearing you for a moment, Kalam. Did you ask
I'm
me a
here.
question? Yeah, now I can hear, but I was not hearing for a moment.
Okay,
But
you can hear me now, yeah?
yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, please.
There are many options. There are many options in terms of genres, and those genres each offer an opportunity for a particular organization with a particular owning a particular brand or having a particular philosophy corporately to either tactically or strategically back a situation or a particular film with a particular genre to it. So just for purpose of comparison, what is the love genre
Oh, that's a
as
brilliant.
opposed to
Okay,
the other ones that we've had?
okay. So yeah, that's a very interesting genre. Actually, I think one of the most popular genre, because you know that human being, we want to bond. So even if you see the sort of the success of Facebook. So Facebook success is that Facebook is creating a platform where people can bond, first of all, because we are human being, we have got heart. So that love genre is basically, the it is sort of showing the art of creating happiness by two characters, and these are the smallest team in the world. So two characters come together and they create love, and there is an art of creating love or romance, and this is the most choreographed of all forms, and the only genre where two main characters are most important. There are other characters, but here two characters, they got the spotlight. And the most popular form of novels, especially most of the novels. So a romance story is about love and relationships. It often shows people falling in love and overcoming problems, not alone, together. So you can see the Pride and Prejudice. They are how two characters they overcome the problem. And so if I go to that format that I was using for other genres as well, so the life philosophy is learning how to love is the key to happiness, because not everybody knows how to love, to be honest to do. Because you need to know actually what is the way of negotiating. And the metaphor is the art of happiness. And desire is the to gain love, to get the love interest and the most intense desire. And the question is, how much can you love? So it's basically, that many people will show their love in different ways. And like if you think about Romeo Juliet, so or the gift of Maggie, that you can really see that what is love here. And then the therapeutic recipe is the way of lover, that the way of lover. Now I will show you a couple of techniques here which will be very, very interesting. So the main character, you need to show that the main character has a unique need that can only be fulfilled by only one person in the world, and the main character eventually find that person, whether it is male or female, but they find the other person, the right person. The lover is the only person the hero must end up with to have their best love, and vice versa. Or they should die with the hope that no one can prevent them to be united. What's happened in Romeo and Juliet. So love stories are about blossoming. It's about blossoming. So then another interesting thing here is that the starting with reluctance. A good love story with not just sometime start with reluctance. Maybe somebody has got a previous monster, bad experience, and they don't want to fall in love straight away. And now they overcome their past monster or the past experience and find and make the match so romantically, and that is an art, that how two-person overcome that. You can, this is an example actually where you can see that Rocky, in the film Rocky, a combination of sports and the subgenre is the action story and love story. So they were initially reluctant. Then, the first gaze. This is very, very important. The first gaze in a love story is very important. That you see somebody and you fall in love. And this is not lustful gaze. No, not lustful gaze. This is kind of, the X-ray machine. So you see the beauty of the heart, the true character of somebody, and you think that this is my person. So in 500 Days of Summer, when Tom gets his first look at Summer, a new hire at that company, something happened inside them. He thought that, oh my God, that was an electrifying moment. So that's kind of X-ray vision. Then there is another thing that for women, it works a little differently. So for men, a gaze may be working better, But for women, you see, when the woman hears about a man from her friend, another girl, so they keep on talking about another man, that okay, this man shows that quality, this, that, and so, and they slowly, they get emotion into their mind. So that's another way. But now you can see that in a love story, you will see that they are fighting. Maybe after a few plots, you see that there is a struggle and there is a fight. Why is this fight? A fight is must. The fight is a must. The fight from the fear of losing freedom and some of themselves because they are loving. So lost hearts. The intimate opponent does the most damage. So conflict to dramatize. How you can make this dramatize? So here you learn not how to win, but how to negotiate and draw. How to draw. So it shows, this fight shows that this two character knows how to draw. So this is kind of the thing. Then the technology in love. So can you think of what is the technology in love? The technology in love is the dialogue. Is the dialogue, the language you use. So that's kind of the oldest technology. And sometimes you make a love cathedral. So do you, Callum, know the story Gift of Maggie? By the way, do you know? Because the Gift of Maggie, it's a fascinating. It's not a Romeo Juliet kind of thing, but so they fall in love. They got married, husband and wife, and husband has got only one, the watch,
Sure.
and
The silver tongue.
yeah, the Gift of Maggie, and watch, and then yeah, and then the heroine, she has got long hair, and both of them want to give surprise with a gift to each other during Christmas, and she sold her hair and bought a chain that can be used with her watch. And the husband sold the watch and bought a comb for her wife so that she can take care of the hair. And then when they reveal the gift, they find that okay, the girl do not have the hair and the comb doesn't work, and she doesn't have the watch, so the chain doesn't work. But they were happy because they understood that how much they love to each other. So that reveal is far more important than what they could get within the box. So it's a fascinating the genre. I think we are like almost 1 hour with 1 minute left, Kalam. So should I finish it, Kalam? I'm not hearing you. I am not hearing you, Kalam, but I think I'm going to go and conclude for today. Yeah, is that fine? I'm going to conclude. Okay, so dear audience, we tried our best to explain the genre with you guys. I'm completing. So when we truly understand the genre, we really
so
go on.
I think probably time to start summing up, really.
Okay, I'm finishing now, Kalam. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, you better finish it then.
Okay, so when we truly understand genre, we realize something profound. Genre are not storytelling tools only, they are the ways we see the world. Every genre carries a philosophy of life. Horror teaches us what we fear and what we must confront. Fantasy reminds us that meaning and magic can be created even in the ordinary. Detective stories affirm our belief that truth can be uncovered. Crime exposes the cost of power and moral compromise. Thrillers reveal who we become under pressure. And love stories remind us that connection is ultimately what gives us meaning to our life. So it was nice discussing this thing with you today, Callum. For our audience, from Callum Morrison and me here in London, we wish all the best to you. Look forward to coming back next week again. Bye-bye.